So we got 3 minutes until the show coming up. I am gonna really try hard not to say ah and all. I just went live. Okay, we got 3 minutes until the show. Welcome, welcome. If anyone is there, make a comment too. I got the computer right here, so I can maybe see it if you feel like it. Okay, okay. I'm gonna try sitting down today. If you want to, you can type on the thing. I got the computer like right here. Get up out. Be part of the show. So I can't see who is there. So you have your, what is that, anonymity? Stealth. I guess when you comment, then I get to see who you are. So if you want to comment. So now we got, oh, hey, you can do questions on the show if you want. Awesome. So I'm doing that radio show. I guess you know about all this stuff, yeah. Hey. All right, I got a minute. What am I doing here? I think it's about time. All right. Okay, welcome, welcome. This is Monkey Mind with Rob, and you are listening to WHIV New Orleans 102.3 FM. I'm going to try really hard today not to say a lot of ahs and ums. I did a little self-critique of myself, the show from last week, and it was very repetitive. So I'm going to attempt to do more pauses. Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Kara. Oops, I just did one. All right, I'm already flunking right off the bat. I guess it's a natural thing to do. I don't really have like a script here or anybody to talk to, so the whole show is just me. Uh, uh, okay, this is gonna be the whole show. It's me catching myself every 2 seconds. So yeah, I had kind of some heavy. Okay, so this show is the Monkey Mind with Rob. The Monkey Mind relates to Buddhist term for the constant chatter that's in your head. The other part of this show is kind of dedicated to brain cancer and living in one's moment. So it's kind of like health issues. Way back in 2005, I had got diagnosed with a GBM, which back then they gave me like 6 months to live. So it's pretty heavy. And I had a lot of negative speak, like that monkey mind. My monkey mind was really negative towards me constantly. And I was in a job I didn't really like. My marriage was pretty rough shape. So I had just a lot of stress factors. I couldn't quite get away from it, and I wasn't very positive to myself. And so it was like you had your worst nightmare enemy with you 24/7. You couldn't get away from. And I mean, I was in bad shape. So I always thought like it really lowered my like immune system, like all that stress. Was real depressed. Right before I got diagnosed, I was trying to get on antidepressants or anything I could get my hands on. I had massive anxiety, massive depression. When I went through my journey with the whole cancer thing, I did not think I had brain cancer. I thought it was like headaches at first. I was having seizures and all kind of stuff, and it was and it was almost a relief, like when you at least you know, okay, it's not just me flaking out, which I was pretty sure I was flaking out anyway. But yeah, so it was pretty wild for sure. So if anyone wants to, I got like a Facebook thing. Y'all can ask questions or something. I'll try and look at it every now and then. I'm not very good at that. But today we got a special thing after the show. We got Red Priest. Oops, I just did it again. Who's gonna do his 100th episode? And I'm kind of on the show too. And even the I just keep laughing at myself. So the show right before this, they were talking a lot about disability and getting stuff out there. The show after this is called Listen to Us Live, and it's all, I was a member, and I guess still am, but because of COVID, we don't do group people in the stadium, so that was always like a mixed bag of people. And now, Red's just doing it, by himself, representing the community and being a member from trauma, which is also a major factor on, causing, cognitive issues with it, stress and, was that PTSD? I don't think I said that right, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay, I got it again. Ooh, I like saying that, don't I? I had no idea. I listened to it the other day, and I was like, man, I can't get a word edge out without saying ahs and ahms. I know my mom always jumps on me because I'm always saying, I don't know. And then she's like, well, I think you should know. She's like, well, I know. Oh, I guess the other part of this show is all about the ego and really catching yourself, because the ego is so synced up with this whole monkey mind. I kind of use it all synonymous, where the thinker, your ego, and the monkey mind are pretty much the same thing. If you want to go into the definition of defining stuff. And I think that's a major, major problem in our culture, is we are not really defining things. We assume a lot. And thus our ego. We want to be right and others wrong. That is like a base. We're all deeper than that. With that, I think comes a duality. I'm not as down on this. A lot of this stuff I say is me kind of this, how I made things work for me. And I want to be more open to learning and not being so opinionated. But it's goodness, that's gonna be something to work on. That's kind of fun. But let's see. I got these lags where I have to think of what the heck this said. So now I'm gonna say so. Okay, screw it. I'm gonna have to say it. A lot of it is so much practicing gratefulness for our moment and reminding ourselves of that. The other, maybe like 3 days ago, my ego or my monkey mind gets very aggravated, tends to be like in the morning. Like I'm coming off of dreams. I guess I don't really have that much control over dreams. So I guess maybe if there's things I'm repressing maybe or something in subtlety ways, they come out. And I had the other one, I was just like going, man, this is like almost like a wasted life kind of dream. Like back in the day, I was always really into art, and I still am, and film. And so I really wanted to be a director, actor, something like that, creative, painter. It was all very egocentric, as most artists very much are. It's very much a monkey mind pastime, as are most things. It's all like a breeding kind of thing. And we're basically just animals, and we're programmed because our species exists to breed, and so we do a lot of things like our things are different than peacocks or whatever animals do. We build stuff. We try and acquire wealth to attract a mate. We do certain things, even if it's gay or what have you. It's all kind of the same. Or even sometimes when you're not even sexually, it kind of, our motivators are the same, and our egos do a weird thing to flip it on us that kind of justify our actions and stuff. But yeah, so I was pretty tripping. I was going, okay. The part of me, I wasn't saying this point like I'm saying it now, but this is an easier way to break it down. It sounds pretty crazy. Like a wasted life. I wrote down notes here. I'm not rich. I'm not famous. I'm a failure in my art project because I really don't do that much with it. When I was in school and university, I was like, I had a lot of swagger with my art. I was very arrogant about it, I think, in a lot of ways, and I was always trying to be absolutely the best because I thought I was the best. I was the most creative. I was the most dexterity with it. I always felt, and not always the case, but and I think it's so much about. It's just like what you create your reality. You really do. And with art, it's a big part of the package is putting it out there that you got something to show, say, believe in your own BS, basically, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's all kind of BS. I mean, so much of the stuff that we get so focused, you get a few steps back and really look at it, and you can see how it's just, so much of this is so trivial, and we make such a big deal about driving down the road and somebody goes too slow. I mean, somebody can die over that, with somebody getting so angry, their ego. And so much of things comes down into we project so much, where you can really find out so much about yourself in seeing what you dislike in others. Like you could go, oh man, like I just had a big old my eldest just turned 21. And then so she's telling me that, I'll just say a family member has told her that that they're worried. It's two of them, and I don't really engage with them anymore. But it's just unhealthy. And I think it's such an important thing too, is to when you realize you're in this repetitive pattern with somebody. It can be anybody. Your spouse. You gotta like either call out the behavior, of course, and attempt to change it. If you can't change it, then you get away from it. And it's just not, we're doing the same thing, year after. Anyway, so he tells my daughter that they're worried, and it's just all such. I mean, in my mind. So you got to say I'm involved in it, so I'm biased. So you gotta take it. And I think that's an interesting thing to read into people. Like I was just saying, it shows you so much about me. I was a little, like I'm doing the birthday party with my daughter, really cool, fun, and then it comes up, and it was like this false, basically lies, but it's lies that when people tell themselves, other people tell them, so they believe their own lie. Like I think you could probably pass one of those, a lie detector test on it. It's that psychotic. So that's where I was getting. And so it made me, I got kind of mad. I got a little mad hearing that. Because, it's basically just somebody trying to turn my daughter against me. And trying to cause drama, unrest, which the ego loves because it's somebody else. It makes somebody else wrong, which makes you right. And your ego loves being right. How you're not your ego, or how you know you're not, it's kind of like a dream reference where you can look at. And it's also like that in the sense that you can listen to your thoughts. So you can sit back and just listen to this thinker, this ego, monkey mind go off, which typically, it sounds like you, it walks like you, it talks like you. So it kind of it kind of is you, and pretty much all of us think of ourselves as that monkey. And it's the thing, it's our hobbies. For the most part, it's us. But we have this awareness kind of in the background that can listen to it, and that's more our core sense, our core being, and it's a little bit. It's not as ego manipulated. However, a lot of stuff too boils down to not judging so much. We have a tendency, we're just judging ourselves, judging others, judge. You're right, I'm wrong. It's all the monkey mind. That's just all it wants to do. And so it's almost just listening is the best way to do it. You don't really want to fight. Like when I had cancer, my Reiki was really had a lot of just positive things that she just reinforced that I keep. Like I don't go negative. Like I don't fight cancer. I basically ask it to leave my body, and I try and surround myself with positives that you don't embrace negative states of mind, and fighting begets fighting. So it's not the route to go. And cancer's natural. It's a natural part of in our bodies, but it's also like other parasites. They come and go. They don't just hang out. So that's where it really causes a rub, of course, in our bodies. So it was pretty. I always told my doctors, but I didn't have one of them that agreed with me. And I think doctors are pretty off. I really do, for the most part. But I do what they say because I'm like, man, I don't want to die. But it's okay to die. I mean, death is a part of life. It's like a breath. I'm kind of thinking, I'm not religious, but like after this body dies, there may be something to really holding on to that core awareness, where that's more of a energy source. That, like I said, it's not so much where I don't know, like a vibration maybe or something. Like it's something that's really uniquely us, but it's not. We can't. It's not really. In a sense. Like once you fluff off all of this ego stuff, we're yeah. It was interesting too. I was watching something on they were talking about animals, and the whole, I guess, cognitive function of other species, and it's like this fine line of being, truly conscious. It's kind of interesting on the buildup, I guess, of nerve endings in our brains that cause us to then say, "I am here." But you see a lot of animals do it. Our pets can very much have, it seems like, a personality, and as do all animals. But yeah, I'm zoning out here. I don't know. I've been thinking my cognitive ability, because I had brain cancer. I don't know if I even said this. I had brain cancer in my right frontal lobe. Anyway, they removed a bunch of the right frontal. 9 months ago, they did an MRI and they saw a suspect area over my brainstem. So the right frontal, you can dig into it, you can biopsy it, have surgery on it real easy. Brainstem, not so much. It's considered very risky to biopsy it, to have a surgery. It's pretty much everything is very surgery, not non-surgical, ideally. Though I have a brain surgeon now who's really cool, and he's like, Rob, everything is surgery, but he's a surgeon, so he was being all cocky, and so yeah. So anyway, so I'm back on chemo. So I've been on chemo now for last I don't know, 8 months, something like that. But yeah, I don't like it at all. But my Reiki told me some time back that I should kind of pray to it and practice gratitude for everything, and I do. It's all a good journey. I'm kind of hoping this thing over my brainstem is scar tissue, or yeah, dead tissue. Because when you saturate your brain. I had a big time chemo treatment that I did years back. So I've been 14 years uh, after diagnosis, which is very, very unusual for a GBM. And the plus side of this too, my doctor on the last episode, because I called him out on a few things in a nice way. I don't like to get my doctors too nervous, and you want them to feel pumped up and right. you know? So I'm not like challenging them on what diet? You don't believe in diet? That's ridiculous. But I did that kind of the other day with my daughter, man. But anyway, a lot of the doctors are not into diet, which I think is really crucial. Imagine that things you put into your body to sustain you on a daily basis don't have a direct effect on cancer and your body's health. I mean, I just can't. That makes no sense to me. That wouldn't be, and it wouldn't be something you'd be interested in. I don't get that. Where I think the medical profession and so many professions, it's all, again, everything boils down, anything in the world, politics, I don't care what it is, all boils down to this monkey mind ego thing. It is monkeys love getting into groups because it makes them more right and others wrong, and it builds this thing. And look at how groups of people get just berserker, they just turn off a certain morality thing. It's not doesn't tend to be a kumbaya. It's more like it's like war on somebody, hating on somebody, and that's another thing I really practice, and certainly with my friends. Like if people, I'm always I'm always trying to be positive. I mean, that's the one thing I got beat into me after this. I guess this not that I'm done with anything. I mean, I'm gonna die, so I'm not. I didn't dodge the bullet, but and it's so much about just enjoying your moment. I mean, getting back into it and reminding yourself to get back into this moment and going back. Well, it just reminds me of depression and anxiety, which I had loads of it. And back when I was a kid, I think I fantasized about being depressed. I thought it was the coolest. It meant, no, man, I'm just deep. I got, heavy thoughts, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very profound kind of experience that I was depressive. And I loved even like the characters that I saw. Like I remember always liking Lee Marvin. He always played, I remember when I was a kid watching him because he played this drunk and he was really depressed. And I was like, man, that guy is cool. And he had like a beat down. I think it was a Cat Ballou or something, maybe. Something like that. Which I don't know if I really like the movie, but Lee Marvin, and I thought was like, man, that guy's cool. I want to be like Lee Marvin. But it's funny. And it's funny how you sync up and you call yourself things and you identify your... What was the other thing? Oh, it's the sky. I wrote down some notes, but then I forgot them. See, I forget a lot of stuff, but, whatever. Don't we all? I mean, I was always like this, but everything got a little bit more kicked up. Some people say I have brain damage. I don't. And my Reiki does not like me to say that at all. I've been slightly modified. But it's just having fun. And you can find, what is it? One of the great things that I learned through this experience, one of the big influxes into me was Eckhart Tolle and listening to these discs. And it allowed me to really identify and call out that thinker that I was telling you about earlier, that monkey mind that was really negative. And the best way that I had to really combat that, or not fight it, was to calm it, or to not identify. I guess the big thing is not identifying that so much is you all the time. And I totally still do that to this day. I enjoy my monkey mind. I mean, it causes me great pain, fear, anxiety, but yeah, it's like, hey, that's me. I'm a monkey, and I think it's something we all do. But it's also noticing that that's not really, you know, we're a deeper, more core existence, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it's something to practice on your life. Like I said, gratitude is so much on everything. And one of these things that I was got turned on to was saying I love it. 'Cause I was noticing, I was watching, maybe it was on the Dow, and it was about, I think it was something to do with that. And it was like a practice, and it was kind of like a thing that you could do. They called it something else. It was like a Italian term, but it basically just meant I love it. So living your life like everything you created it is such a good daily practice. And I find so many of my friends and people that I'm really talking to really hold on to just so much pain, hurt, identifying themselves as that, and it's very natural to do it because like again, it goes, the victimization goes to making you right. Others were wrong, and you were right, and your ego loves that and just loves feeding that. But the past is the past, and it's just gone. It's not here anymore. If you want to keep reliving it, that's your choice. You can do that, or you can practice letting it go. And that's what this is. This is practicing. And one of the things is that you cannot, it's like people, get uptight about failure. It's like, will I be able to do it? It's like, no. It's like you have unlimited. This goes back to my waking up in the morning where I was like, it's like such a failure. you didn't do any of this stuff. Because I guess I was reading in my family member's critique of me, because I'd heard him kind of pepper some stuff like that when this family member would get mad at me. It was very derogatory stuff towards my mind. So I think because that syncs up, that kind of makes sense. You know how your dream, like you have one thing happens and then that pops up in maybe a slightly different form. So it had me, how you identify with certain people in your family, and you want to, or your ego really wants to, and they can kind of push that button, be it your what do you call it, a senior or even a junior, your kids. Totally. I was, the other day, I felt very ego-y at the birthday party because I'm big into diet, and because like I was telling you earlier with the whole health thing, so I've been doing like a paleo, and then I kind of tried what's the other one called? But that was like too complicated. I was like, man, I don't want to do like a calculator. So now I eat all meat. I do a carnivore eating style. Diet has such a hang up with it because it's like you're repressing calories, but it's not. But it's supposed to be. And then, so my daughter, very strong-willed. The other day, she might have been a little high, so she was not too tolerant. You're young. I mean, your teenager, your older teenager gets very set in their ways, and they know everything. And I was like that one analogy where it was like, I knew back when I was 18, my parents knew nothing, and then by the time I was 21, I was amazed at how much they had learned in that 2 years or so. But I'm not saying that's the case. But anyway, she was watching a thing on Zac Efron. I guess it's on Netflix or something. And so I got bumped by Zac Efron. I was like, man, come on. So anyway, Zac was saying he was like I guess he's really into working out and stuff and what he puts in his body. And they were saying that protein-fed cancer or something like that on the show, or she was paraphrasing it. And that oldest civilization ate lots of grain and pasta, and that was what we should be eating or something like that. And I was like, that is so not the science that I'm looking. And so I was like, it is about protein and fat is what we should be eating. Bone marrow, stuff like that, man. That's what I've been privy to. Because it was like, what is that, like 4,000 years ago? We had first settlements and stuff. Before that, our species was basically a migratory groups walking around. And I just heard recently that they were doing a lot of DNA studies on it or something, and they were seeing that it looked like we were very much scavengers. That predators were making a lot of the kills, and we were coming in later with rocks and stuff and beating on the bones and sucking on the marrow and all that kind of stuff. And, or I guess maybe scaring off the predators and then eating their kill. So there's a lot of that, which makes sense. Like bone broth and all that stuff is so good for you. But yeah, so I mean, I know a lot of people don't like that. And I had another person, but and a lot of it is pretty rough. I mean, looking at it, killing an animal, skinning it, gutting it. I mean, it's hardcore. You're basically like a serial killer in a way. Right? That's pretty rough. But I hear you. But that's how we roll. Now, not all of us, we can choose not to. Like I said, we create our reality, so we can all do what we want to do. And I think there's a lot to have respect. But one of the things is they were saying on the show that protein feeds cancer. I'm hearing it, that's not, I mean, yeah, cancer feeds off anything. It'll feed off, I assume, protein too. But what really escalates it is sugar and carbs. And carbs in the body converts over to sugar. Sugar is not a natural thing for us to be consuming. It's just not. And what the body does when it doesn't have things it's meant to be eating, it kicks it over and says, well, I don't know what to do with this right now, so we're going to save it for later. So it kicks it over and stores it as fat. As I understand things, we are supposed to be, and I could be very, very mistaken and wrong, we are supposed to ideally be running off fat in ketosis. Our settlement lifestyle for the last 4,000, 6,000 or whatever years has been feeding masses. We started doing crops, which we weren't doing before. So let's say it's 6,000 years or something like that. How I heard it explained to me and shown to me was that evolutionary eating, like they call it stuff paleo, which I think is very too myopic on the time period, though I don't really know. That's what I heard, because that relates to a certain chunk, like what Neolithic, and well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so prior to that, let's say 60,000 or what is it, 6,000 years ago? Yeah, I think it's 6,000 years ago. So I heard it explained to me we had millions of years of evolution, and then this last little chunk is when we started eating all this grain. So we haven't really evolved, like let's say a cow or something has to consuming this stuff, which is why our cows and stuff and those type animals have a multi-layered, quote, stomach, though technically it's maybe not a stomach. I think they have multiple chambers that you could kind of consider a stomach, whereas we just have the single thing, which another thing that goes more in line to this, when you start eating paleo, you poop less, which I think is a big, this is my jury rigging of science. And I think that might relate, like you hear everybody with all these prostate, cancer and all this kind of stuff, it's just pooping too much, you know what I'm saying? So, because you're eating things that's either getting flushed out of you as just junk, or it's being stored as fat. And I mean, it's this inflammation. I think in general, eating causes inflammation in us, just as a whole, but it's a necessary, minor, of course. But But yeah, but the other stuff that's not intrinsic to us, or as we evolved over millions of years. And I heard one way to look at it was that you look at a football field. I guess they did the relative math on it. If you look at a football field, our evolution is the entire football field. The last inch is us forming settlements. So it's a very dramatic comparison. And how I heard is that we just haven't had enough time to evolve eating this junk. And it causes, and cancer just loves that stuff. Inflammation, I mean, it lowers your just body's immune system. I got another internet friend who's, I think he kind of even, I don't want to say cured his cancer, but he pretty much nipped it in the bud. He had a GBM. I should probably really get back on that. I'm trying to do this thing where I'm not like taking all these supplements though, which maybe I need to. I don't know. But he had his just totally clear up. And the doctors aren't really giving him any credit. But he's trying to, it's like a community on Facebook of people with glioblastomas, which is a brain cancer. Which I think nowadays has the average is once you get diagnosed, it's pretty much like a year. But like this guy is just, and he's showing all his MRIs and he's sharing with everybody what he did. And so he's pretty fired up about it. And I don't think our medical community, I mean, they've totally done away with almost homeopathic. I mean, do you hear any like major doctor doing that? And they'll actually even go after people that have and trying to sue them. I mean, it's just such a big business that it's kind of sad that they lose that beautiful champion of taking care of people and caring for others, which is what should be at the core. Like I was thinking lawyers, politicians, and plumbers should all just work for the greater good of civilization. They should be born into it. Like they have a living wage, of course, and are comfortable. But I mean, they're adored by us because they're champions and like a priest should be, ideally, caring for yourself. And a lot of times that money gets involved, and it's not even really the money. It's all just monkey minds, man. It's not being aware of your monkey, and it's also really careful. You got to really watch it. Like when I go through this process where I'm trying to be more, I don't even know what the term for it is. I'm like this banter that I'm doing. It's very I have family members that will call it hippy dippy. And but it's like I don't even remember what I was talking about now. Hippy dippy. So I had okay, it just reminds me that I had a date. I just looked at my notes. I had a date the other night, and who came up? Like that's the World Health Organization, and I was like, man, that thing blows. Shows you my mentality, and because in China, and it's like all these politicians go in there. I mean, all of them seem like they're doing it, just loading their pockets with one special interest after the other. They all come out, it seems like millionaires, and it just seems pretty gross. And it's like, all these organizations, they make up like they're these great, they have these beautiful mission statements. But then when you start following the money and then you start looking at what they're actually doing in relationship with it, like who they're kind of for and who they're not, it tends to be who's paying them. And it seems like over the last, I don't know, man, maybe it's been since World War, I don't go back that far, but at least since, I guess, I've been kind of cognitive, it does seem like there has been this don't talk about it war with China that's going on, like either taking us over economically, repressing the heck. I had a retail store and I got turned on to the fact by a family member that all of our manufacturing was getting done. Like we'd outsourced everything manufacturing wise to China. And I went in my shop and then I looked at it. I hadn't really paid much attention to it. And it was like all my stuff was like in China. And I was like, what? And I was PO'd. I called up all my reps and tried to speak to the owners of the companies, and they were pretty big companies. And I had one of the guys. He says, "Rob, this is gonna take you out, man." I was like, I don't know. I guess that was after brain cancer too. So I had much more of a what do you call it? The impulse. Like if I think something's logical, I mean, I would a duh. I mean, don't we all do that? If you think something logical, you want to do it. So I didn't think that was right, and I didn't want to be doing it. And I remember one company I really went after, and they had some cool stuff, and they were kind of like a hybrid, really into water sports like surfing, rock climbing. I mean, a really cool outdoor company, and they would say on their label, what was it? Created in California or something like that. But they were made like I guess they were using that created as this like yeah, well when we thought about making this brand, we thought about it in California. But then we sent it to China to have it made it. And then so I actually, because I guess it's a relatively small company, I get to speak to one of the higher ups there. And so he had a real had it out, man. He was really defending. He's like, "Well, Rob, what do you want me to do with Sally?" She was like a Chinese woman that was owned in China and heading up the group. And I was like, you get Sally over here and have her manage something in the States, man. It's like they're not promoting this product line. They're not promoting rock climbing or people surfing around the world. And look what they're doing. It's not healthy, manufacturing conditions. It's just not cool. And what they're paying them is just not right, man. And I think things are inking up. I think they're getting more and more of a middle class, but really unhealthy. And then with the whole Hong Kong thing, I was like, I'm really bummed out with Vans. They really bent the knee. And then all these movies that are getting edited because China won't play it because they don't like seeing it's just give me a break. Give me a break, man. So I'm not gonna say I don't know, but I don't know. I just said it. Crazy stuff, man. But yeah, with the diet thing, that's such a big thing. And it's like you go to hospitals and then everybody seems so overweight that are working there, like the nurses and stuff. It's like, whoa, come on. It's like they ought to really have, it's just not healthy. I mean, they're going to be part of they're going to be filling up hospital beds. You can't have that much, and being overweight is just basically inflammation. And that promotes cancer. Every kind of health issue. It's even aging is so much about our inflammation. I guess aging, you could say, is an inflammation. But practicing, just being good to yourself, not being around unhealthy people. Yeah, for sure. Eh? All right, I'm looking at my list here. I mentioned Zac Efron, stinker. So anyway, with my daughter, I think my daughter sides with Zac Efron, but you don't want to listen to your dad at that point. I get it. Your dads are stupid. They're dumb. But yeah, diet. It's a big thing. Well, where they say shop the outer wall at grocery stores because all that processed stuff in the middle. Like I noticed, I think for a while I wasn't really doing carnivore really right. Like you really are supposed to be keeping things down to single ingredients, and it's everything from an animal. Though I think I'm not as good with the dairy stuff anymore. Like you can have milks and stuff like that. Like I said, anything from an animal, like cheese, all kind of fish, any kind of animal. So I bought liver the other day. The organs are supposedly really good for us. because they have a lot of different like nutrients in it. And you get everything from meat that you sustain. A lot, like even like that whole food pyramid thing. I mean, I think what is that like? What was that 10 years ago or something? Where they just flipped the whole thing almost. And but yeah, sugars, man, not good for you. Fruit, too much sugar. Really, too much sugar. Not good for you. Vegetables, ironically on this is kind of crazy. Animals can run, they can hide. Everything has a natural defense. Vegetables and stuff like that, their defense, leaves, all that kind of stuff, they have a certain toxicity to it. And it's slight, but it's a inflammatory to discourage getting eaten. Animals, with our evolution, don't have that. I know, this is heavy stuff. Somebody's out there going, you big dummy. Yeah, people are gangsters. Vegetarians, you don't want to mess with a vegetarian. You do not. No, no. And such a key thing, too, is to remember breathing. Keep breathing all the time. Like, do that and listen to your breath. So that's the other flip thing to the monkey mind, is that this Buddhist monk, I got turned on to the term, was always thinking. And he was like, man, it's so difficult to meditate because my mind gets so bored with just the silence and not doing anything. It always wants to do something. So the monk would ask himself, am I breathing? And that would give him this, and a real honest, really asking yourself. And then what you would do is then your monkey mind, your thinker, then listens to your breath. And then that, in your essence, is your little meditation. And that's all it ever is. Like, I had that epiphany sometime back when I was like just chatting on this radio show that, you don't really everything is about the now. You're not doing anything in the future. You're never going to get in shape in the future. You're never going to go to the gym or write that book. You're going to be doing it now. When you go time travel, I don't care where you go back in time, in the future, whatever, it's all BS anyway. But if you were to do that, you'd be now, baby. You'd be all now. And you can't mess this up. You are always going to have, and I'm going to stick by this, you are always going to have your now to try it again, to start fresh, to fluff off all that karma of your snake skin that was the past. It's gone. Unless your monkey mind is tricky. It'll keep coming up with things. And watch yourself, too, if you start getting too confident. It's like, okay, I got this. That monkey mind is so stupid. Then you kind of create another monkey that's calling the other monkey out. And that's not what it's about. It's more of a non-judgmental listening to your monkey and kind of bearing witness to it. So that's kind of cool. Very cool there. I might do something different today. I was going to read the thing, but I might plug this thing in here. See if this will work. Just want a little pause. Otherwise, I'd be saying ah and I don't know. How did I do today on the ah and I'll have to listen to it later. I probably didn't do that good. I was focused on that on the front end of this show, and then I was like, it's out the door. Okay. Let's see if this thing is working. So this is a song I wrote, what was it, like last year or something? Imagine what it's about. So boys and girls sing along at home. Remember to breathe today. Practice not judging so much. And never hate anyone. It just falls back on you. And Zac Efron does not know everything. Edie. But, you know, homemade pasta does taste really good. And I'm sure it's very old. I think it's Chinese, too. Feel you, you my monkey. And remember today, coming up briefly on the top of the hour, we have Listen to Us Live 100th episode. And I think I am even going to be a guest on it. I'm going to be called up later. But lots of love, people. Love yourself, too. Keep loving yourself. And really, the past is the past. You can let it go. Just practice it. Forgive yourself if you fail. You bring it up. That monkey mind starts. It can figure out how to zap you, for sure. No lie. When I had this thing, leave with this one. This one is something to ponder. I have a really hard time with this one. Life is the dancer. You are the dance. I'm not sure that's a real Buddhist meditation. Like, what's the other one? What is the sound of one hand clapping? As with most things, it is what it is. That is the answer. It is what it is. Help, I love that monkey, that monkey, that monkey, that monkey man. Can't help, I love that monkey, that monkey, that monkey, that monkey man. You to love me. Okay, I had some things here I didn't really hit, but c'est la vie. You're not mine, all mine. You with me all the time. Hey, monkey. Feel you. We ain't one. That monkey, that monkey, that monkey, that monkey man. Monkey, that monkey, that monkey. All right, y'all. That was directly from my little iPhone. I normally don't do that. Anyway, peace with yourself. Try and get into your moment. Just practice it. Don't be hard on yourself with it. You got endless nows to keep playing and enjoy yourself. Okay? All right, y'all. Back to some. Oh, yeah, and go to. I guess I should say that. Did you know that 102.3 WHIV FN New Orleans has been broadcasting for the past 5 years? We are able to honor independent voices with your support. We got hoodies, tank tops, t-shirts, great gifts. Simply go to WHIV.org and click store. That's WHIV.org. Thanks, y'all. We are not a radio station with a mission. We are a mission with a radio station. There you go. That's a one to ponder there, too, with the life is a dancer, we are the dance. End all wars, and especially the one in the mirror, man. Stop the war on yourself. Make peace. Give yourself a big kiss. Later.